All right, back in action here. We might have had a little audio issue, but thank you for sticking with us. And thanks to our team behind the scenes notifying me of that issue as well. So, not sure exactly where we left off with no audio, but maybe we'll start here. I know earlier I was daydreaming about the beautiful sunny sky we have this morning, so perhaps I was daydreaming so much that our little audio board here started dreaming itself and went to sleep on us. So sorry about that for any technical snafu. But anyway, looking at the warm temperatures, we've been as warm as 86 this month, this year. Yesterday was the warmest day of the year for Gulfport, and we had some 80s in March. 85 was the warmest temp hit on the 26th of the month, and we didn't have any 80s in January and February. So it's getting warmer. That's the takeaway from this. It keeps getting warmer each month, and guess what? As we go to May, we usually see our first 90-degree day of the year. So don't be surprised when next month we're forecasting 90s pretty often, especially toward the end of the month. Summer officially starts in June, so shouldn't be any surprise. All right, well, while I still know that our audio is working, I'll do a small version of the daydreaming at the beach, I guess, in case you missed it earlier. But there's a look at that shot. You can see a beautiful shot there by the Biloxi beachfront at the Beau Rivage with the cars driving by, the waves, just some small ripples on the coastal waters this morning. Nothing too bad. So I hope that you can get out and enjoy. Now here's what to expect. We have highs in the 80s today, hardly any rain for the next few days, and then some showers possible later this week. Pattern in place right now, we do have the jet stream. The jet stream is taking a dive down over the Pacific Northwest. It's also taking a dive down over the Northeast. Now, if you're a real meteorology nerd, you know exactly what this pattern is called. It's called an omega block. And why is that? Well, if you know your Greek letters and you know how to draw the letter omega, that's what the jet stream is shaped like. It's shaped like the Greek letter omega, which if I try, I don't know if this will let me draw, but it kind of comes down, then goes up, and then comes down, and then goes up again. It looks similar to a W. And that's what's happening with the jet stream. It's coming down over the Northwest, giving them a chill, but then it's coming up over the middle part of the country, pulling in that warm air from Mexico, and then it's coming down again from Canada, bringing a chill to the Northeast, and then it's going up again once it's way out over the Atlantic. So this part here where it is going up, that's where we're finding some of the warmest air across the whole country. So that's where we are here on the Mississippi coast, pretty much right in the middle of this warming pattern across the Gulf Coast region. So whether you're in Florida, Mississippi, Texas, no matter where you are on the Gulf Coast, we're looking at temperatures in the 80s and 90s pretty much everywhere. And remember, it's still late April, so we should not have too many 90s. Technically, the normal temperature for a given April 28th in South Mississippi is 79. That should be our high temperature today, but instead we're going 84 in places like Gulfport. Could be 83 perhaps in places like Goshen. Could be hotter once you go north of I-10. Places like Van Cleve could be 87. Socher could be 88. Wiggins and Perkinston could be 89. Maybe Lucedale comes close to 90. So the farther away you are from the coastal waters, generally the warmer your afternoon temperature will be today. Temperature is just half the story, though. If you talk about the humidity, then you mention the heat index. Temperature, that just tells you what the thermometer is reading. It doesn't tell you how hot it actually feels until you actually factor in that humidity. That's how you calculate a heat index. Heat index is calculated by considering both temperature and humidity. And that tells you how hot it actually feels. And by this afternoon, many of us could have that heat index pretty close to 90. So it could feel like it's 90 degrees regardless of whatever your thermometer is reporting. And this trend continues through the next 3 days. We will see temperatures in the mid to upper 80s each day and a heat index around 90 degrees each afternoon. So that is kind of locked in for us there. It might kind of make you hope for some April showers, but we're running out of the month of April here. You know, today is the 28th, tomorrow, Tuesday, is the 29th, Wednesday is the 30th, and that's it. That's the end of April. And wouldn't you know it, you go from April to May and somebody turns the rain faucet on. Now, hold on, I thought these were April showers, not May showers. Well, apparently that's what 2025 wants to offer. We've got pretty much dry weather for the last 3 days of April. And then the April showers come in tardy to the party into the month of May on Thursday and Friday. Does it look like a big washout? Do we see yellow and orange and red colors? No. So maybe not any heavy rain, but some rain that's less than heavy could be possible on Thursday and Friday in parts of South Mississippi. Now, like I said, some of you are begging for rain. You haven't seen rain in a while. And others are saying, make it stop. It's been raining every day. One of those places where we've seen rain many days over the last week is Pearl River County, including yesterday. Yesterday, places near Poplarville picked up more than an inch of rain, and that goes for places very close to Wiggins as well. So you can see anywhere where it shows basically that purple color, that indicates more than an inch of rain, maybe around 2 inches. Let's see if I can do a sampling. Yeah, 1 to 2 inches of rain in places along Highway 26 between Poplarville and Wiggins. But this stuff is very hit or miss, because it wasn't in all of Pearl River County. You go down to Picayune, nothing. But up in Poplarville, something. And this is the timing of that rain yesterday. Nobody had rain on Sunday morning, although it was raining on Horn Island. And we had some clouds pop up in the middle of the day, doing pretty well. And then a few tiny showers that started to develop along the sea breeze boundary. These guys right here, near Socher and Van Cleve, looks like they were moving up toward the north. Wrong tool there. Should be an arrow. Let's try that again. They were moving up toward the north at that point in time. And we went to later in the afternoon and bam, did you see it right there? That big thunderstorm right on top of areas near Poplarville and Wiggins on Sunday afternoon. So you can see during that 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. time frame, it's pretty stormy, but nothing in Gulfport. So the rain deficit continues to grow in Gulfport. We have more than 2 inches of rain deficit building right now. You know, we should have more. We should have 5 inches of rain by this point in the month of April, but we don't even have 2.5. So that's running a rain deficit of more than 2.5. And for the year in Gulfport, we have just under 16 inches of rain, but we should have 19.5. So we're running a rain deficit for the year of almost 4 inches in Gulfport. I would imagine it is probably not the case in Pearl River County, where it has been much wetter than it has in parts of Gulfport, Biloxi. And like we said, there is a chance to see some rain showers going into later this week. So keep an eye on that for your Thursday, Friday, and Friday night. We'll see. This is all because a cool front is approaching the area. This is going to be in May. How often do you get a cool front in May? And the answer is not often. Not here on the Mississippi coast, at least. A lot of times these fronts will come on down from Canada. They're coming. They look like they're going to make it here. And then they pump the brakes right before reaching the Mississippi coast. So we'll see what happens this time. Right now, the forecast expects the front to actually pass through the area. If that actually happens, what could happen here? We could get a drop in morning temperatures. Instead of waking up every morning in the 70s on the coast, we could begin to see some 60s. That would begin Saturday morning with mid-60s in places like Gulfport, Sunday morning with lower 60s in places like Gulfport, Biloxi. Some of the inland areas could be even cooler as we take a look at that 10-day forecast for both places on the coast and inland. Let's see what those numbers look like. Wow, we're seeing even cooler numbers, so look at that. Even though places like Gulfport could be at 64 Sunday morning, places like Wiggins could be at 60 on Sunday morning, and then maybe 58 next Monday morning. So that's cool enough that you might be in long sleeves. But the farther out in the future you go with the forecast, the less reliable the information is. So don't lock that in just yet. We have to see if this front actually makes it here or not. I'm personally pretty skeptical of it, and I would not be surprised if this forecast changes as we get closer and it starts to look like the front isn't actually going to make it, but we'll see. All right, well, that'll do it for this Monday edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you again in the next video.